So, Mark, why are you such a hater?
Oh, that's a good way to kick off the Unhinged episode.
Yeah, I mean, what else? So, welcome to this unhinged, unscheduled MTM Vegas show. We are both traveling this week, and instead of not having a show for you, we decided to do this, which is going to be responding to some of your comments and your thoughts. And it always starts with, why is Mark such a hater?
Yeah, this is kind of similar to what we do in the after show. We don't really have a set goal. Maybe we have a topic or two we want to talk about, and it just kind of rolls from there. Sometimes it's Vegas, sometimes it steers away from Vegas. So we'll do that. But no, yeah, the number one comment I think that we get, at least randomly, there's usually a couple every episode, is I'm negative and that I'm a hater. I'm always kind of like surprised, and I've gone back a lot of times. I go ask, okay, what, like this episode, what was I a hater about? And nobody ever comes back to respond. Maybe they don't get notifications from YouTube, which isn't the greatest, or maybe they just it's just kind of a narrative. But I always look at it this way, and we come from a background of writing blog posts, articles, things like that, and we always try to show both sides of things. So that's kind of what I'm always looking to do, is like, yeah, I like this, I don't like that. I don't want to just be all fluff and fun. Like, I want to really deep dive all of these ideas. And then sometimes I throw off an idea of, I had like, hey, if I was running this is what I would do. I come from a business background, so that's kind of the way my brain works. And then also I'm very sarcastic, and so I'll throw in jokes, and sometimes I think people take those as me being negative, where I'm just kind of poking fun at something. And I know you have a similar type of humor, so you get it, but maybe not everybody does.
I get away with a lot though, because I'll say something and then people won't say that I'm being sarcastic or negative, and then you say something, and then which is great for me. I love it. But yeah, obviously we're giving different perspectives on it. I have a long time history here, and Mark isn't trying to be me, and I'm not trying to be him. And I think that's a very important sort of thing, is that we are coming from different perspectives. The tourist who's not here, living here, driving to the local casino, doing all of that sort of stuff, where he's getting the city in big chunks like a lot of you are, these week-long trips, a few days at a time, whatever it is, whereas I'm constantly here. And that is really what it is. And like, we don't really care that much about popular opinion. We have been doing this a long time, so we have our own opinions on things, and sometimes they aren't quite what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, I think that plays a role into it too. Like, you live there, and people are always defensive of a place they live. I mean, we have a friend that's in our work chat called PDX Deals Guy that used to just make fun of Detroit all the time, because Detroit wasn't the greatest city for a long time, and they had issues, and they had violence and things like that. So you'd always make jokes about it and poke at it. And I found it kind of annoying. And as soon as Portland kind of went through their stuff they've been going through, he shut up, because he lives in Portland. So he doesn't have much, ground to stand on. And I think a part of it is people say, okay, Shawn lives here, so if he says something that is taking it, that's coming from a local, it's okay. And I think a lot of the people that complain that somebody from Detroit is talking about Vegas is because they live there and they're defensive of their city, which I totally understand. But like you said, the vast majority of people that watch this show are tourists, or people that don't live in Vegas, that don't live in the greater Vegas area. It's people that love Vegas and come 3, 4, 5 times a year. So they're going to have a perspective that's probably somewhat in line with mine. So that's why we wanted to have voice of both sides. Like, hey, this is my local perspective when Shawn's talking, and that speaks to the locals, and then also gives people watching what that perspective would be, and then tourist perspective from me, and that speaks to the people watching as well as locals. I would take it as, okay, this is what a tourist thinks of this. This is why I agree or don't agree. It's just a topic of discussion, debate type of thing.
Yeah, and this is really an absurd city, so we like to be absurd and laugh and joke and do all of that, while we also do have serious opinions, and we pay close attention to this stuff and do cover it in a serious way, so we sort of know what we're talking about. And the whole local versus tourist thing is sort of ridiculous, because if you talk to the average local here, they know nothing about anything we talk about. They don't know anything about the city. They're just living in the city. They're not paying attention to any of this stuff, including family members, all that stuff. So like, a lot of people I follow are tourists, right? The people who love this city. Obviously, there's content creators who are locals too, but other than that, I mean, it's the tourists who come here. They experience it in a much different way than the locals. They find the spectacle, the love for it, and locals tend to sort of hate the tourists. I don't know. Like, a lot of people are bitter here.
No, I think that's anywhere that's tourist focused. Like growing up in a small town that was on a lake, and the summer basically paid for the whole year for a lot of businesses. But all the locals hated tourists, even though their whole life revolved around the money that the tourists bring in. And Vegas isn't all that. I mean, as far as like it's not all about tourists, that's not their only economy, but it does play a huge role in it. And there's a lot of service industry. People that work there, so they rely on it. But I think that's just it's common everywhere that has tourism. And then it's also common for anybody that lives in an area that tourists go to. Like they just take it all for granted. They don't really go and do those things. Or maybe they did the strip when they were there early on, but are like, all right, I'm done with that. I'm never going back there. But it's constantly changing. And that's the same as when I go to New York and the I talk to the bellhop or something like, hey, how long have you lived here? My whole life. And then he's like, where are you guys going today? And we say, oh, Roosevelt Island. Have you ever been? Nope. Even though it's like a quick train ride for him, he's just never gone and taken that because they don't look at it that way.
Yeah, so if you're watching this show, congratulations. You already are more Vegas than most people who live here, and that is just 100% the truth. They don't understand the spectacle. They don't understand the things. They see it as tedious and a lot of those sorts of things. And so you don't really, a lot of the content creators you guys watch on YouTube and other social media platforms, sure, they live here now, but they came from other places. They understood this sort of outside way to cover it. It is sort of very rare to find the Las Vegas local who really does appreciate the city for what it is, when you can find all kinds of creators. I think of somebody like Vegas Pauly C, who comes from the East Coast, right? But he has this sort of spectacle way of looking at it as an outsider. He even says Nevada, right? That's what it takes to kind of see this place in the way it really actually is.
And I think that this show has done cool things for the two of us too. Like I think you've commented on this as I have, that it kind of forces you to take on the tourist perspective at times, or go see things that you might not go to otherwise, and it gives you a different appreciation for the city. And then me on the flip side, from doing the show and talking about things that only locals would normally go to, I get to check out places and areas and restaurants and bars that I wouldn't go to otherwise. Because a lot of times you, as a tourist, you come, you hang out on the strip, you party, have a good time, gamble, maybe go to Fremont, maybe go a little bit off strip, but you don't go as far as we've gone together, in part or a big part because of the show. Like, I don't know that I go to Laughlin without doing the show. And that's such a cool area that I love that I got to go see it. I don't know that I go get to see Buffalo Bills before it closes down without the show. So I'm appreciative because of that. And then hopefully us doing that and me doing it shows tourists that are watching this, hey, there's a lot more to Vegas than what you've seen. Even if you've been there 50, 60 times, there's so much more out there.
Speaking of Primm, I love all the comments that everybody says Buc-ee's needs to come to Primm. Of course, we would love to have Buc-ee's there, so we will see, but we don't know the days there. But it's always nice that video has sort of gone a little bit wider. More people have watched it. And with the Primm thing, it's just so nice to see that there's a lot of people that have the same sort of emotional attachment to the place that I do. And, sad to see it go. But that is the community of this channel, and of finding people that love, Las Vegas. I grew up here. I never had people around me who loved the city in the way that I do. And then to go film something out in the middle of the desert, and then to have, 100,000 people watch it and say how much they love it. That has been so cool. And I do agree we've probably had 20 Buc-ee's comments, so Buc-ee's forever.
Yeah. Every time we talk about Primm, Buc-ee's comes up. But I think that's also, you started coming to Vegas as a kid with your parents as a tourist, and you kind of fell in love with it from that perspective. So I think that gives you kind of a unique thing. And a lot of people that live in Vegas came from somewhere else and started going to Vegas as a tourist. So I think there's some tie in there as well. But I think it gave you that perspective of, I used to love this because of this, and now I love this because of this, or I still like it, similar wavelengths and all that. But it gives you that perspective that you've lived both lifestyles, which is kind of cool and fun. And that's something that not everybody else has gotten to do. And hopefully we encourage a lot of locals to go to places that they feel is touristy and things like that. But you know what Primm needs is, we just talked about the Star Trek bar restaurant. Imagine if that had been in Primm. People would stop every time they're driving to and from California.
Quark's bar and a buffalo shaped pool. You can't two
Yes.
things that have always meant to be go together. Oh, yeah. I mean, some of the other questions that we get all the time: how is it being a content creator in the space? How is it being in the Vegas space? We both have different perspectives on this, because I think people dream, like, this is sort of like a dream job for some people, to be able to cover Las Vegas and to be a content creator as well.
Yeah, and I think we do it a bit different than a lot of other people. I think the slot channels are huge now, so a lot of people are going out there and gambling insane amount of money, which I'm guessing at the end of the day they end up making it out with, just views from the ads or from sponsorships or however it works out. They can lose and still come out ahead, and people really enjoy that they get to watch the experience and watch them win, watch them lose, and all that. And then there's the boots on the ground type people that are going in and showing you the inside of different, unique spots, even within a restaurant that you've been to that you might not have looked at or known was there, things like that. So I think everybody adds to it. And then we kind of look at all of these things and bring them together and show you the most interesting ones that we can come up with and then put our perspective on it. So I think that's what kind of makes it a little bit different. We're just kind of here like, hey, we think this is cool about Vegas. Let's talk about it.
A lot of people doing things differently. I mean, the space here has gotten so big. If we're being honest, there's a lot of creators. I don't know all of them. I have had conversations with most of the big names, either behind the scenes or something. There is a lot of competition, a lot of personalities, but hey, we're just here doing our own thing and we enjoy it. And I have to say that most people have been very generous and kind and very cool to meet and to do all that. Another question we get all the time, Mark, is why do you hate Criss Angel?
I've never watched a Criss Angel show, never even watched like him on TV or anything. Don't have anything against Criss Angel. From all that I can tell, seems like a nice dude that gives back a lot and tries hard. And I give him a lot of credit for putting on his own shows, a lot of times out of his own pocket, to keep them running and things like that. It was just kind of a joke that started, I don't even know, was it within the first couple months of doing this? And then we started doing it every episode, and that lasted a very long time. And some people got annoyed by it. Some people loved it. Some people miss it. And now it's just kind of random where he comes into it and we bring him up and unexpectedly. And I kind of like it that way.
Yeah. Bringing him up to trash him if we hated him, that's not our style. So yeah, we don't have any bad feelings towards Criss Angel at all. It just sort of became a joke, and he's a big name, and we're not the only ones who make jokes like that. So yeah, no hate it at all. And that's why when Alice Cooper comes and it's so good, we want to cover that. And the garage sale is just the most ridiculous thing ever. I mean, and it's just the gift that keeps giving.
Let's check it. Is it still there?
All right.
The Lambo still for sale?
Hot off the presses, Mark. While the studio sale is still going strong, it does appear like the Lamborghini is not on the site anymore.
See, now I'm hoping Shawn like pans out to his driveway and it's parked in his driveway. How awesome would that be?
I would rather go spend $210,000 over at EDC on drinks. I don't know. No, I mean, honestly, some of those props are cool. No,
what it was, the Lambo, what was it, like 40 grand, 39 grand? It wasn't even like out of this realm. I know it was like a 2006. It was older, but you wouldn't think that you could get it like in that range of like a nice pickup truck type of thing.
Yeah, I forget what year it was. I have to try to look it up.
Pretty sure it was 06. I think it was like 04, 06, something like that.
But yeah, Criss Angel, the gift that keeps giving. Obviously, he's also a name on the in the city that is here for a long time. So we keep doing that. Any other questions that you want to answer? Burning questions that we should answer for people?
No, I think one thing, misconception some people have is that they think this is like a straight news channel and we're just like the nightly news giving you the rundown of what's happening in Vegas. And that's a bit to it. Like, we want to share useful information with you, but we also want it to be fun, that we want to have jokes. We want to laugh. I mean, we have to do this show too. We in part do this show for each other or for ourselves. Like, if it wasn't fun, then we wouldn't do this. And we come out here 2-3 times a week. It's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but I'm always excited to talk about Vegas. And especially when there's just craziness going on and no other city quite delivers that like Vegas does. But we want to have fun. We want to try to make each other laugh. And then hopefully you laugh along with us. But that's kind of the goal here, is to give you news and entertainment, not just straight news. So I know some people are like, oh, I can't believe you guys are making jokes all the time. And that's the show we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, news can be so boring, and this is Las Vegas. And there's a lot of people covering the news in a boring way, but we also want to know what we're talking about. And so that is the sort of balance, is we're joking, but hopefully we're not jokers. And I know that that is going to be a comment. I just asked for that one, but that's okay. But yeah, we're here to have fun. And, that goes to a lot of people ask about the So Mark at the beginning. And it's just something I decided to do because it was just, sort of a Vegas local showing his tourist friend, like, hey, Mark, this is what happened this week in Vegas. And I sort of just like starting the show off with that, a quick over the top thing that happened. And then it just became every show.
Yeah, I think it kind of naturally went that way, and we didn't really notice it, or I didn't notice it until somebody started commenting
that way. It was definitely a choice.
I was totally oblivious that it was every show until somebody commented, like, "Are you ever going to start with anything other than So Mark?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah, there was this TikTok channel I saw years ago where they would always have these shorts, and the one host would talk about a topic, but he would always sort of like talk to the other host and say, did you see this? And clearly they had both seen it, but I just thought, hey, that's a cool way to like do it. And then I did try it once and it just sort of made sense. And the quick intro, for YouTube, the algorithm, all that, it does help too, to kind of get you into the show and to see something right off the bat that you might be interested in. And then it allows us to have like a quick section where we're not going to talk 10 minutes about some dumb clip, but maybe 30 seconds or whatever. And we've seen some incredible clips in that opening segment.
Yeah, that's always the most fun. And another thing that people always wonder is, do we like script anything? And there's a lot of podcasts out there that have scripts, and they send you, if you go on a guest, they send you questions. You have to write out your answers so everybody knows. That's not fun. That's annoying. And the podcast is boring, I think. And we wanted to do this, so it's all off the cuff. And that's why sometimes we say stupid stuff or we say it the wrong way, because we're kind of working our way through it live. Like, we have some ideas when I read a story or Shawn reads a story. We have ideas of what we want to say, but then it might change depending on what the other person says, and we're saying in response to that. And we have our own jokes and things that we are thinking about, but we don't discuss any of that before. So everything that we interact is all like off the cuff, first time, and we don't know what each other's going to say, which I think adds some fun to it.
Yeah, and that's a little bit more on my side, a little bit more, I don't know, less predictable, like coming from you. I mean, that your jokes are going to be less predictable. I sometimes never know what direction you're going to go, whereas I'm probably a little bit more predictable in the way that I go with things. So that's always fun. And, we like the Unhinged. The best episodes are the ones where we are in tears. I have to cut something where we're just laughing so hard. And that does happen often. But I did tell Mark, hey, we need to be more unhinged. So maybe you'll see more of that. And then like the next episode after I said that, he was just absolutely unhinged. It was...
He had to cut so much. No, I think my two favorite jokes or things that we laughed at the most was, one was, it was a Criss Angel thing, and I forget what we were talking about, but you're like, it's a race against the clock or something.
I think it was the garage sale. And
then the other one where they had the blow up like sex looking doll selling tickets out front, and I said like, hooray, at the end of it or whatever.
She's we haven't seen her, the ticket doll. I mean, she is, I think, still at the fashion show mall, I think at the tickets booth. I haven't heard whether she went away or not, but we thought this was going to be the next thing, was ticket dolls.
Yeah, it is not. It did not take off.
They've all been repurposed by now. I don't know. Yeah, there's been some really cool, the early days of the intros, the scooter gangs and going down like the escalators and scooters, wheelies, all kinds of crazy stuff, soccer moms throwing up a win inside the thing. And,
the naked guy on the, what was it, roulette table or blackjack table or whatever, stood up on it all naked.
Peeing at the slots. Yeah, so many good ones. And there's so many that I haven't been able to show because at some point there is a limit to what we can show here. So that is unfortunate too.
We did show one once that had fighting, not really fighting, but kind of fighting, and we got demonetized for it. So no more of that stuff.
So only slightly unhinged, but hopefully this impromptu sort of Q&A behind the channel, what we're doing Hope you guys enjoy it. We are doing 3 shows a week. Mark and I are traveling this week, so only going to have these 2 shows, but hopefully you enjoyed this bonus episode and more content to come. You can check out our Patreon. We do an after show where it's very unhinged a lot of the time, every single week, things we can't talk about on YouTube, and a lot of fun. So if you like the fun side of the show, check out our Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Yeah, it'll be the after show will be our 6th recording today, so that will be exciting. We
Why are
did
you
not
giving
wear
out
the
all the
same clothes for a week. We don't smell. We're just lining them up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good week.